You're watching TelecomTV's exclusive video coverage of the SDN and OpenFlow World Congress event from Dusseldorf. And I'm joined now by Charlie Ashton, who is Director of Business Development at Wind River. Charlie, thanks for talking with TelecomTV.
Thanks very much.
Can I ask, what is Wind River's play regards SDN?
So Wind River's play regarding SDN and NFV is around the NFV infrastructure layer. We provide an NFV infrastructure cloud solution, which is unique because it enables the service providers to achieve the level of carrier-grade reliability that they really need for telecom infrastructure, which is key to protecting, their top-line revenue, actually, as they move forward and they start to progressively adopt NFV into their networks.
Now, you say as they move to progressively adopt NFV, where are we at with network operators and their adoption plans?
Well, I think we're seeing some early use cases, emerging. One of those is probably virtual CPE, and specifically, virtual business CPE. I think in the case of the virtual CPE, the OpEx savings are pretty compelling, and they're pretty easy to justify, and to explain to upper management within a service provider. We're also seeing some use cases in the core, such as virtual IMS and virtual EPC. But I would say probably the leading use case that we see right now is virtual CPE.
Are there still a lot of proof of concept work to be done before we get more momentum going forward?
I think there are proof of concepts to be done in certain areas where maybe the standards are not necessarily agreed and firmed up at this point. But we're really seeing service providers wanting to move ahead from proof of concepts and evals and get some real deployments started. So we see a strong movement towards trials with the service providers that we're engaged with.
You say you're seeing a lot of movement yourselves with virtual CPE. What specifically, and why is that important?
Well, I think it's important because the service providers can achieve such significant OpEx savings by virtualizing functions that previously have been implemented in dedicated appliances, which carry a certain cost in terms of maintenance and upgrades and truck rolls. And they have a large number of enterprise customers typically where these kind of CPE solutions are deployed. So if they can virtualize all that either in the network, or at a point of premise, that really reduces their operational expenses.
Now, we have a lot of companies in this area, a lot of new companies. It's vast. And the standards work, you've got the ETSI work, you've got the OpenNFV work. How do you ensure that solutions all interoperate?
Well, I think you actually have to pay attention probably to three different types of standards. There's what I'd like to think of as the paper standards, if you like, that have come out of the ETSI initiative, and we're a big participant in that. We participate in certain working groups. And those standards, continue to evolve and to firm up, but clearly there's a lot of ongoing work to be done there. And then there's OPNFV, which is an interesting one, right? Obviously through the open source, OPNFV project, there's a large number of companies and developers that are coming together to create an open source implementation of certain NFV infrastructure functions. And that may well become kind of a de facto standard that everybody has to test against and be interoperable against. I don't think we'll know for sure for probably 6 months, but it certainly looks like that could become kind of a de facto standard, as I said. But oftentimes, what service providers are really looking at is not whether you're adhering to paper specs, or something like OPNFV. What they just want to see is interoperability between solutions from multiple vendors. Because realistically, in NFV, most of the solutions that are deployed are going to involve software and hardware elements from more than one vendor. Obviously, that's, the service providers are trying to get away from vendor lock-in. So what we do, as a provider of an NFV infrastructure solution, we have a very extensive ecosystem program where we work with partners who provide the other levels of the solution. And we work with them at a deep technical level to make sure that their solutions are fully interoperable and fully compatible with ours. That's really what service providers look for in a lot of cases. They want a list that show, they can pick from different orchestration solutions, different VNFs, different NFVIs, with the confidence that that's all been pre-validated to work together.
Is there a danger that service providers, their wish list, if you like, is too extensive or too sophisticated? They're looking for the best of everything, and the danger is they don't jump in early enough.
I think that there could be a danger that they could wait for the absolutely perfect solution and then miss out on being first to market, where somebody else just jumps in with something that's available. But that's really, you know, the power of the open standards that have been defined, right? In theory, it's easy, it's straightforward for the service providers to switch a solution out for another one. You know, if a better solution at that particular layer comes along, you know, a year later. And I think that's really a lot of what the service providers are trying to achieve through these open standards at multiple levels. It avoids the vendor lock-in, and it gives them the maximum flexibility to take advantage of solutions that are now coming to market from new companies who really previously couldn't participate at all in the telecom business.
And are service providers happy? Because the old model was that have a limited number of vendors. New model is that there's a lot more, but there's a lot of partnerships going on. As you said, it's so important to work with a wide ecosystem, a lot of partners.
The feedback that we get is that they're pleased that new companies have entered this business. They were looking for a lot more choice in terms of solutions, and also they were looking to encourage, you know, innovative new companies, especially new ISVs, to jump into the telecom market. And those guys were really prevented from doing so before, because, you know, telecom was dominated by proprietary, you know, vertically integrated solutions. So the sense that we get from conversations is, yeah, they're pretty happy with the new companies that are now providing, you know, compatible solutions and you know, and interesting new services that they can make available that way.
And finally, Wind River's strategy going forward with NFV. Where are you going next? What are we looking at soon?
So our strategy, first of all, is not to expand beyond the NFVI layer. You know, we're very sensitive to the fact that service providers don't want vendor lock-in, and they want to have best-of-breed solutions at each layer of the overall architecture. So we're going to continue to focus on NFVI and focus on improvements and enhancements and innovations to make sure that we've got the best possible carrier-grade NFV cloud that meets the requirements that the service providers have going forward.
Johnny, thank you very much indeed.
Well, thank you.